Hello everyone and welcome back to our continuing adventures on the Let's Defend platform. Today we are taking a look at the challenge, Hidden Backdoor. This is... Crap, I thought I had this up already. No, while we wait for that. It is going to be a forensics exercise. We're given a triage image, I believe grabbed with cape, to go through and dissect. Background is a senior developer at AINokhba Enterprises. I'm just going to say AIN Enterprises discovered an unfamiliar file named NotionSetup.exe on their workstation. Curious and concerned, they executed the file, but nothing appeared to happen. Fearing that something might be wrong, they immediately reported the incident to the company's security team. The task is to analyze a triage image from the senior developer's machine to determine how the file ended up on their system and what actions, if any, were triggered by executing it. And so you're given a Windows VM, and it's the typical thing of tools folder on the desktop and challenge files on the desktop. I have grabbed a copy of the 7-zip file and extracted it out. And I've made slight modifications as it extracted out to it included a C drive, which is not what we were quite looking for. So let me see if I can bring up a view of what we're actually looking at then with this stuff extracted out. Oh, good, I can. It's going to be a little bit big. Okay, and we'll transition this over, and here's what we're looking at. So technically, there should be a C folder, and then this would be the contents of the C folder, but given the fact that there are no other drives, don't have to really worry about it. That was grabbed. And then this was, let's see. I thought this was closer to the top. Oh, yeah, it is. Free. Hard incident responder. Okay. So, that. Okay, so let's go back to this. So with all that, then, our first aspect is, can you determine the exact domain from which Notion Setup was downloaded? And they're looking for site.com. So inside of here, as this is a typical breakdown, we take a look at users. And all for M. App data. Local. Then we'll have Google and Microsoft, so that will go to their corresponding. This particular one, because I've done just a slight bit of pre-gaming, it's going to be inside of Chrome. So we go in, so C users, all for M, app data local, Google Chrome, user data, default. So default profile for Google Chrome for this particular account. There should be a history file. And there is. If we then spin up a copy of DB browser for SQLite, and open that file, that history file, oh man, that's just huge. it is of the ginormous and of the ridiculousness. Okay, but we bring this up. We have this open, we go browse data, and we can take a look at downloads, and we can take a look at URLs if we can see the activity as this has gone through. So they took a look at allform.medium.com, they did a Google search for global news, they hit a globalnews.ca, which apparently took them to globalnewshub.com. So we're looking specifically where this came from. So if we switch back to downloads, and there's only the one thing that's in there, the C users all for M downloads notion-setup.exe, which is the file we're concerned about. We can take this over, and apparently this came down from globalnewshub.com. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this, and we'll knock these out, transition back over, paste in, and that starts us off. Hooray. Then we are looking for compares the site the developer visited was compromised by attackers who embedded a silent downloader in the code. What MITRE attack ID describes the method of the attack? And so I went through trying to find this. The quick couple of hits that I tried, urlscan.io, virus total, they just didn't have anything besides the, hey, this domain's for sale. Hoping that if I could take a look at it, we could go from there. So we just have to take what they said. So I asked Google AI, silent downloader, MITRE technique. Comes back claiming ingress tool transfer T1105. So we'll see as to whether or not if that's actually right. Okay, what do they give for the hint? Search the technique in Google, initial access. Really? Okay, well, let's take a look at the techniques then. And we'll go take a look for initial access. Okay. Initial access. So content injection, drive-by compromise. It's not phishing. How about drive-by compromise, T1189? That's what it was. Okay, the injected script managed to download a file without the developer's knowledge. What is the full URL of the file that was downloaded during the browsing session? So this looks like this should reference the notion-setup.exe given the formatting they give. So in order to take a look, we probably want the zone transfer info for that Notion-setup. Which, okay, fine. And then what we can do with that is we can pull up Eric Zimmerman's MFT Explorer, point it to the extracted out contents, and then we should be able to transition this over. Yes, okay, so this kicks off. Over on the left, we can indeed see users, all for M, downloads. And we see Notion setup, and it looks like they downloaded Python 3.12.4 for 64. So we have Notion-setup.exe highlighted. We go into the little bar, or little section down on the right, and if we drag down, we can take a look for zone transfer information. We get the referrer, and then we get the actual host URL. And that looks like that's going to match what they are indeed looking for. So take that back. And there we go. And then we need, when was it downloaded? So when was this created? And what are they specifically looking for? They want year, month, date, hour. So I would think that we could do this a couple of different ways. If, for example, we take a look at the actual folder, we go see users, all for M, downloads, be very careful to just right click and bring up properties. Oh, hooray. And it doesn't even bother to show that. No, created. Gives us the wrong info, because obviously that would be when it was created on this local file system for the copy over. Well, crap. Okay, never mind that then. Let's just rely on MFT Explorer to try to find the answer. Okay, and so if we go standard info, then we're doing in this, we're going to list it as 2024 07 07 space, then they want hour, minutes, seconds. So 15 08 33. And that is apparently, oh crap, am I looking at the wrong thing? I may be looking at the wrong thing. No, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Okay, so let's try this then. We'll take the standard and we'll pop that in. And so that should be 2024 08 17 6 13 17. Very close to the right answer. So let me guess, if it's not going to be that one, then I know that there's is there an additional? So modified. It comes back. So created on 2024 08 17 06 13 17. 2024 08 17 6 13 17. Well, that's a little bit weird. At least according to MFT Explorer, that's when it was made. I mean, the modified denotes 25 for standard info. Last accessed, record changed. They want us to use the browser downloads instead of MFT, asking for hint. Okay, that's fine. We bring that up. Edit display format. And it needs to be epoch to date. What does that tell us? So 2024, 08, 17, 6, 13, 17. Okay, what if we take the end time and then do the convert? Do we get anything different then? 25? Which is what they wanted. So the end time from the download section, which would also be confirmed by the SI underscore record changed timestamp in MFT Explorer. Let me pull that back up. So, right there. That'd be something. Okay. Hash value. Well, we have a copy of the file. We can just take that, drag and drop into VirusTotal. And that I mean, we could also do the same thing, just hashing the file, but this was quicker. So we're just going to grab that and pop that in. Okay, so it gives us that, which coincidentally enough, this apparently is, I'll include that for Elastic, but part of BitSloth by the looks of it. Okay. Next particular aspect is, can you find out the exact time when NotionSetup.exe was last executed on the system? And with this one, we're going to utilize what was given to us for the prefetch folder. So in the local capture, it's going to be the C Windows prefetch. And we'll have all the good stuff that basically breaks down inside of there. Actually, I wonder if Notion Setup would actually show that same portion. 220 for last modified. What we're gonna do is I have fired off from Nearsoft the Win Prefetch View utility, pointed it to that directory, and basically let it go to town. And if we drag through here, we can see created time, modified time, process path, and then it gives us last execution. And it looks like it's descending value. So that reports as 8/17/2024, 02/20/01. So let's see if I bring this down. So 2024, 08, 17, not 07, 02, 2001. Very close to the right answer. Prefetch the files, which I just did. So what if it's a difference of time? No. Year, dash, month, dash, day, space, hour, colon, minute, colon, second. That's kind of interesting that it doesn't change that aspect. That is the modified time, though. Oh, that little sub window's not showing up. That's odd. It's not coming up on the actual. Can I just switch this over to properties? No, it does not like that at all. Not at all. Okay, well, then we'll just go with last springtime then. But that doesn't help. Because if it was downloaded to the system at 06, how could we have run it 4 hours before? $7.20. So a little over an hour since it was downloaded. So that would be why, because it was only the hour digit that was wrong. So I'd probably need to know as to what time zone this stuff was in. But this is where critical thinking comes in handy. Otherwise, you just give up and move on. Oh, yeah, that didn't transition over. Sorry. There. So it shows as 220 for us. But in reality, because this was downloaded at 6:20 or 6:17 their time, assumed it'd have to be 6:17 and higher. So that's why the first answer I tried was 2:20:01. Didn't work. 6:20:01. That didn't work. So now 7:20:01. So apparently there's a 5-hour difference, which I think would account for UTC. Anyways. So now we're looking for, once it's executed, tries to reach out for a second stage. So would we have that second stage inside of virus total? What does it try to reach out to? Looks like it just tries to grab a bunch of certs. Good luck. Oh, so this might be the aspect where it sits there and talks about the bits. So we would probably want to look for that. It looks like C program data media setup. So I mean, is it literally just the updater that it tried to reach out to? Updater.microsoft.com and then try to pull something else down. Hmm. Well, we do have a tasks file, right? Yes. I realize, yes, that doesn't show up, so give me 1 second. Okay, so we're going to take a look, since this whole thing is using bits. So C Windows System 32 Win EVT logs. There is a Microsoft-Windows-bits-client %40 or 4 operational.evtx. And if we open that sucker up and we go roughly to around the 2 o'clock time, we get bit service loaded the job list from disk at 2:12. At 2:13, again my time, so I'm assuming this is actually 7:13. The image time, we see that its service created a new job called Microsoft Windows, which was denoted in the report write-up for Elastic. Process path points to Notion-Setup.exe inside the downloads directory for All4M. And it goes through, and much like is observed in there, it reaches out to www or out to http://updater.microsoft.com/index.aspx. That should be what they're looking for. Yes. So take that out of the way, bring that down, so it's there. During the investigation, you discover that a second stage of the malware writes data to a specific file on the system. What is the name and the full path? guess is that's going to be what it pulls down. So the C, so underneath the updater.window or Microsoft.com. So C users all for M, app data local temp, WMEA3C.tmp. Maybe. Possibly. Well, we'll see. Okay. Um, it is not what the event viewer showed. Interestingly enough. The path is right, so C users all for M app data local temp. But it is not the WMEA3C.tmp. Instead, what we need to do is go back to MFT Explorer and then point it in the same directory and take a look what's inside of there. And then we see a bit EA82.tmp created 7/13/01, which matches up to the execution time. And that's where we get that one. It would be nice if the event log and MFT Explorer were, but then we need malware family. I mean, does it have a family? It does, interestingly enough. Doinia, Multiverse, or Bitsloth. So we're going to try Bitsloth first. Hey. Crap. Okay. So, go with all that. So, there we go. That has been the hard difficulty incident responder path challenge of Hidden Backdoor on the Let's Defend platform. So, Nearsoft tools and Eric Zimmerman's tools. Big help in regards to all this, which I believe Eric Zimmerman does have a prefetch tool. So you could technically just use all those to run through that particular aspect, and maybe that would have kept the time zone information accurate, so it would have reported 720 as opposed to 220. Okay, now I gotta try. Hang on. And yes, that actually would end up being the case. Pull down PECMD, did the -F, pointed it to where I have the PF file for this. And then it gives you modified, and then gives you, I saw it, where is it? Right there. Last run. 2024-08-17, 7/20/01. So it does respect the time zone difference, which, okay, great. And then the rest of the info as it's presented in there. So, but yeah, so maybe just use Eric Zimmerman's tools. Although I think the Nearsoft prefetch viewer has a newer version that might resolve that, but so. But yeah, there we go. That answers that. That would get us to the direct answer. So I guess when in doubt, just use Eric Zimmerman's tools. But all that being said, hopefully you've learned something on this journey of checking out this Windows forensics for hidden backdoor challenge. With all that being said, I will see everybody in the next video.